Greetings, salutations. Welcome to the COFA Connection. My name is Carlius Johnson. I am your agency owner. I have a special guest here with me today, Guillermo Marino, the one,
doing?
the only, the agency director extraordinaire. What I wanted to do is give to you all an opportunity to be able to get some insight into a very important topic to your success. That topic is rapport. So I'm going to ask Guillermo several questions about rapport, and hopefully you'll be able to glean some things that you can add to your understanding and help you to be successful as an agent. So Guillermo, how long have you been with the agency now?
I think about 3.5 years. I think December will make 4 years, man.
Okay, congratulations, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so 4 years in the business, to know that we've come as far as we've come, to have our own channel,
Yeah.
and to be able to actually train and educate our agents in this way. I mean, kind of, what does that do for you mentally?
Man, it's huge. I mean, seeing how far we come from when we started, and especially just kind of like where I was when we started. I never thought I'd be sitting in a room like this,
Right.
doing this live kind of thing. It's crazy. I mean, to see all the thoughts that we kind of had on paper to now come to fruition in a way, I mean, faster than I actually thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. Well, I don't want to hold you guys too long. I want to be able to give you good content, good information, but I want to do it in a timely manner. So I'm just going to jump right in. So first things first, here's my first question for you.
Okay.
In your experience, what about rapport is challenging for new agents?
I mean, just getting out of your comfort zone, man. I mean, it's just kind of weird because you're in an awkward situation because you're in someone else's house. You don't know anything about them. And I guess depending on how we're raised and things like that, it's hard to like kind of take control in someone else's house. You can kind of feel uncomfortable about it. It's kind of against your nature, against how your upbringing was. I think that's one of the most difficult things for newbies, and kind of finding out that people are just people, man.
Okay.
I know that with my personal experience as a new agent, I actually had to get out of a car, and I think you're pretty familiar with this. I was got locked out of the car and had to speak to some random stranger. And at first, I'm like, man, this guy's gonna think I'm so weird. And it was that moment where I realized that people are just people. They're just like us. And I mean, as easy as it is to talk to just our friends and things like that, it's the same way that it should be with people. But it's just different, for a new agent going into that field and not being able to kind of take control in a client's house. But I mean, once they get over that and they find out that people are just people, it's real easy, man.
Okay.
And they end up loving it. Sometimes it's like the best part of the presentation because you get to be you.
Absolutely. Well, we live today in a microwave environment, in a microwave society, and people want to know how they can go from being novice to expert in an instant. And so what's the quickest way, in your opinion, for a new agent to get to that place of being comfortable with building rapport with a new client?
Just practice. I think the biggest thing is from personal experience, I've made it just my mission to everywhere I go to try to start up a conversation. If I'm at a restaurant, if I'm at the gas station, if I'm ordering food, at Chick-fil-A, like just try to have a conversation with people. Just try to maybe, crack a joke here and there. Just try to get comfortable in your own skin, because once you're comfortable in your own skin, you'll be able to do it in a client's house a lot faster. And it's just reps on reps on reps. There's no quick study on how to be comfortable in your own skin. You just have to keep going out and doing it. And once you start doing that, you'll be able to see that, again, it just goes back to people are people, but you have to take the shot and just make it part of your everyday reps.
All right, Guillermo, the next question that I have for you is, how do you approach rapport when dealing with a new client?
Yeah, man, when dealing with a new client, I mean, the first thing I do is I kind of want to take a look at, what they're wearing, just to kind of see, first off, are they coming off of work, going into work? If it's a weekend, or you coming back from church, going to church, things like that. It kind of leads into finding out a little bit about them, just kind of how they dress. But I also start, looking at things from going into the house. Like, as soon as I walk in, I want to make sure that I'm looking at my surroundings, what's on the walls, if I'm in a living room, what's in the living room, if there's furniture, if there's not furniture. Not walk in and just straight go into the kitchen, because I might go into an empty kitchen. You know what I mean? And a lot of people that have pride in their family, they display it, you know, in their homes. Or some things that they're proud of, they display it. You know, the decor says a lot about that person. So I want to get to know them by asking them those questions and making sure that I'm pointing out a few things, because that's how I can really start the conversation. And I got a lot to play with because I'm in their home. You know what I mean? But even take a step further, you can look at it before you even go in the house. You know, is there a car outside? What kind of car? You know, is the color a preference, or was that just the color that it came with? You know what I mean? If they got kids' toys outside, how many kids you guys got? You know, if the lawn's done or not done, is that something you do on your off time? You pay for a service. You know, just ask a few questions and kind of just get the ball rolling, have a conversation with them, and try to get to know them instead of just going in and being all nervous and trying to get your laptop out. You know?
That's a lot of good points that you made there, man, because, you know, when you look at someone's car, whatever they adorn their car with, like the proud parent stickers, you know, your kids on the honor roll, or like the breast cancer stickers, and they have a lot of things like that now.
Yeah, the way they, like you said, adorn the car. I mean, if they got a Patriot sticker on there, I'm walking away. I'm not going to sit with them. You know what I mean? No, I'm just playing. But no, man, it allows me to kind of, you know, take a look at some things and ask some questions. And I mean, I'm not a car guy, but what if they are?
I got you.
People love to educate you on what they know.
I like that. Major point as well. A lot of new agents, whenever they come out and they begin to build rapport, they struggle with it because they're selfish and they don't understand that the conversation's all about that person that you're going to see. So if you're not into it, they're not going to be into you. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, man. Let them talk about themselves. They know about themselves better than anybody, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So do you have any pre-appointment rituals that you do before you actually go to meet with a new client?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm a strong believer in beginning rapport on the phones.
Okay.
I like to give myself a foundation to build on when I get there instead of starting from scratch.
Okay.
So, you know, if I'm on the phone with them and I know that we're going to see each other from 6 to 7, or let's say they're off of work, right? Just an example. I'm going to ask them, you know, is that normally your typical day off all the time? Or, you know, do you get a lot of days off? It's like, no, I don't really get a lot of days off. So, well, what do you do, man? You know, that you don't get a lot of days off. You work full time? Absolutely. And it starts to kind of find out what they do for a living. Why do they do that? You know, what is that something you went to school for? Is that a profession you love, or kind of just fall into it? You know, if it's a evening appointment, what do we have for dinner? You know what I mean? Who cooks the dinner? You know, you got the kids running around the house, stuff like that. So when I get there, I get to build off of that and not have to be all awkward about it, introduce myself, all that. I just come in and say, hey, John, what's going on, man? You got that fish cooking? You know what I mean? Be able to start that, get them comfortable, break the ice a little bit. And I give myself a foundation so I don't got to start from scratch, man.
Makes a whole lot of sense. So you start your rapport on the phone.
Absolutely.
You continue it when you get to the home.
Yes, sir. And so you want to make sure you take the notes, and that's, again, it's purposeful rapport. Don't do rapport just to keep them on the phone and then not remember what y'all talked about. I'll usually take some notes and know exactly what we spoke about, so when I get there, I'm able to build off of that. Whether it be employment, kids, food, whatever it is, I'll have something to start the conversation with.
All right, Guillermo, the third question that I have for you is, in your opinion, what is the purpose of building rapport?
Man, to me, the purpose of building rapport is getting the trust from the client. If the client doesn't trust you, they don't trust anything that comes after you. You know, being Liberty National, the presentation, whatever it is, right? Rapport, really, to me, is your sale, because it's you that you're selling. You know, new agents think, well, no, we're selling products, we're selling Liberty National. That's not true, man, because they buy you. Once they buy you, everything that you endorse is trustworthy. You know what I mean? So it's really building that trust, being able to drive home the presentation, because if you know nothing about them, how can you personalize the presentation to them? You know, how can you really have a conversation about life insurance, about making such a big decision if they don't trust you? You know what I mean? So that rapport is the biggest thing that I look at when I go into a house. Once you buy me, everything else is just cake, because the presentation does it for itself.
I'm telling you, y'all hearing it from the best. You're hearing it from the man himself. So a follow-up question to that is this. What are some misconceptions that new agents have about building rapport?
Number one thing I see is making it an interview process. They think that because we talk about, you know, FOR, family, occupation, recreation, but they think it's, you know, get it and move on. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, hey, CJ, you know, what do you do for a living? Great. You know how long you been doing that? Great. You married? You got kids? You been here long? It's like, it's uncomfortable.
You know, 32 questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And And it's that interview process that takes place where there's no real connection, and they feel like it's something you have to do and then start the presentation instead of something you get to do, because it's for you. You know what I mean? It's for the agent, and so that's where you really get the opportunity to shine and be who you are, and allow that presentation to go on a lot smoother than it would have if you just went in, ask them a few interview questions, and go on because you got nothing.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And then again, the other thing is being afraid to ask questions. I think a lot of agents feel like they're being disrespectful if they ask some more questions to get into deeper conversations. And that hinders the new agent because you don't know if that's their red button.
Well, you know, some people come from different backgrounds and walks of life, you know,
Yeah.
and you got to pay attention to what generation of person you're actually talking to. Are they older? Are they younger? You know, cultural things, you know, and then you have subcultures within those cultures. So I think it's a lot that's in that. I mean, how can a new agent begin to kind of break those barriers down so that they can begin to communicate with that client and connect with them on a deeper level that's not just a surface level?
I guess it's just kind of asking enough questions, but I think the client can read when the agent is just not in it.
Okay.
You know, really be interested.
Okay.
You know, find out about, you know, their walks of life. If they've been in the city a long time, it's like, how are you connecting in your community? Why have you stayed here so long? Is it about the community? Is it about the relationship? If you've been married for 25 years, how do you do it?
Right.
You know, in our day and age, we see so many divorces and so many people getting married so fast. It's like, you've been doing it for 25 years. You know, what's the secret?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have them talk about things that are deeper and more profound than just, oh, why'd you choose this color for this wall? You know what I mean? Or who's your favorite football team?
Right.
I mean, maybe you connect with me, but that's just surface level. I'll tell that to anybody. You know what I mean? But really get to know, what rooted that. With me, it was something personal. My stepdad was the first man ever to watch a football game with me, and and so that's why that is it's been such a core thing for me with football, because of that connection I had with him. But you'll never know that if you don't ask me where it started. The origin. And I think another misconception that takes place as well is they feel that you can build rapport anywhere, and I think that's where it comes down, respecting your clients as well in their home. Okay. Because if you don't build rapport in the first 10 to 15 minutes, but you start to try to build rapport throughout the presentation, all you did was get long-winded,
right?
And now you've watered down that presentation because you put all of this other rapport training in or rapport techniques in that didn't need to be there in the first place.
Right.
So you want to make sure that 10 to 15 minutes is that quality time with you and that client, and then move on.
Been doing it right up front.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, Guillermo, the fourth and final question that I have for you today is, what are some exercises that new agents can practice to improve their rapport building skills?
So I think I said it earlier, one of the practices is trying to build rapport anywhere you really go. One of the best things to do is when you go to the gas station. Okay. Everybody's out there pumping gas. So while you're out there, just have a random conversation. Compliment the person on their car. Okay. Compliment them on the color of their car, or talk about the weather. That's an easy conversation. We're in Florida, man. Everyone in Florida only complains about the weather. Right. And they can all just kind of relate to that. So just try to do that. Build that conversation. Try to, when you go into the client's home, one of the biggest things that I like to do with my new agents is we'll set an alarm on our phone for 10 minutes. And we make sure that we press it as soon as we knock on the door and the client answers. We'll make sure we start the timer. Okay. And we talk and we have them talk, and we don't stop building rapport until that timer goes off. Okay. Kind of gives you that opportunity to get comfortable and seeing it a few times to know that 10 minutes of conversation goes by like that. Right. And it's easier to do. But if you're pushing yourself to wait till that timer goes off, it's going to get you more comfortable with it, with more reps that you do. Okay, that makes sense. And so what if I'm socially awkward? I mean, how are you going to help me to get out of my skin? What things can I do to help me not come off that way when I'm with a client? I mean, really the biggest things to do is just throw them out there. Not throw them out there like that, but try to show them. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I'll have them come with me and we'll just start talking to people and I'll kind of bring them in the conversation.
Okay.
You know, have them kind of throw in some opinions in there and kind of get them to see that it's easy to talk to people and that they're comfortable as long as you're comfortable.
Okay.
If you make it weird, they're going to get weird.
That makes
You know
sense.
what I mean?
Okay.
But the only way to do it again, it's just the repetitions, man, because they're not going to believe it if I just tell it to them.
Right.
Because if they're socially awkward, they've been that way their whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not just me telling you, oh no, just be comfortable. I got to take them with me and take them into uncomfortable situations.
Okay.
You know, just kind of be there, but be there with them. You know,
Okay.
don't let them drown on their own.
Okay.
Be there with them and try to guide them through the process, include them in the conversation, and get them to kind of just get comfortable in their own skin and see that people actually can relate to them as
Okay.
well. Or
Absolutely.
even just talk about it. You know what I mean? Call themselves out on it. I joke about it all the time. Like when I go to clients' homes and they offer me a meal, I say, "Wait a minute, no, because I'll stay here all night because I'll eat all your meal because I'm fatty."
Right.
You know what I mean? Talk about it. If you're socially awkward, it's like, hey man, you know, this is different for me. You talk to people a lot. You know, sometimes I'm socially awkward. You know what I mean? If I come off a little funny, call me on it, man. You know?
Oh, okay. So you
Just-
make yourself the elephant in the room.
yeah,
and address it.
absolutely.
Okay.
Because then what that does is it takes the pressure off of you and it takes the pressure off the client because they're like, oh, kind of, you're down to earth.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I like what you said with the gas station thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do
Yeah.
all the time. Everybody's out there pumping gas, and
Absolutely.
you can just talk about anything, man.
Captive audience for however long it takes, right?
However long it takes, man. However long it takes.
You know,
yeah.
I used to do something like that at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a foodie as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you go to the grocery store and you can see the foods that people are picking up. It's like, oh, yo, what are you cooking?
Yeah,
you know, I need to come to
absolutely.
your house. I don't know if you've ever seen the lady
Yeah.
with 3 grocery carts. You know,
Absolutely.
Like, where are
Yep.
you going?
And then she's got one kid taking one, the other kid taking the other
Yeah.
one. Absolutely. And I just saw like at a Walmart, for example, they got these new scan and go things now.
Okay.
And so people have nothing but time to kill because
Right.
they're all in line and they're all trying to figure this stuff out. That's the perfect time to talk, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just sitting there. Just talk about it. You know what I mean?
Right? That's good.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from one of the best to ever do it, the infamous Guillermo Moreno. We thank
Yes.
you so much for your time today,
No,
Guillermo.
it's been a pleasure, guys. And I mean, take notes from this man because the only way that I've learned all this is to this man right here.
I'm flattered. Too black to blush. But anyway, I want to be able to keep this forum going. I'm going to bring to you all the topics from pros and experts such as Guillermo. But what I want to be able to do is answer your concerns live. So I've actually created an email address so that you can actually email us things that you've gone through, things that you experienced, things that you have questions about, and we will answer those topics right here on the COFA Connection. So before you leave, we want you to subscribe to this channel, and I also want you to email us at team@cofanation.com. That's TEAM@cofanation.com. See you soon.